the channel now has become a more and more complex environment in recent years, and we've seen, you know, that increase in companies going through the channel, the types of partners that serves those companies. You know, since the inception of the cloud, you have very large companies very quickly have a channel and have a SaaS type or MRR offering. So just be interested to, you know, because you've obviously worked in one or two of these and are with one now, you know, how do you adapt your program? How do you deal with the changing, and what are the kinds of things people need to consider in the new world of the channel, I suppose? So thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, great question. And you know, and Brenda, if you can bring up a slide. So what I did was, my wife is a school teacher, and so securely, you know, by the way, resonates with me from what AJ was just talking about. And so, you know, we always talk about how we all learn, right? And some of it is from hearing, and some of it is actually from seeing also, right? And so I thought with this particular question, maybe it might make sense just to show you what I'm going through. Just like AJ said, we're going through our fiscal year, next year fiscal year planning. And so if you look at this, I thought I'd just share with you guys kind of how I'm looking at it, the different types of partners, their roles, you know, how do we manage them and things like that. So if you look at this, if you think of the Magic Quadrant we all want to be on, right, the upper right-hand quadrant, doesn't necessarily align completely, but if you look at this, you can see that the partner map on the y-axis there, I put down fulfillment, influence, and source. So for me, at least, and for our business, right, those are three sort of sales motions, I would call it, from our partners, right, that we want to have. And then you can see on the X, the horizontal axis, you can see sort of the resell motion, the co-sell motion, the sell motion, of course, and then services too. That is important to us. And so what we're doing as we speak is we're taking our existing partners and mapping them this. So if you look at this, this is the first thing I always care about is how do you enable your partner, right? Because in my mind, the win the hearts and minds of partners is through enablement, enablement, enablement. And so when we look at our journey that we take our partners through, and we have a learning academy, is how do they sell? Do you get certified on that? Can you do a demo? Can you do a proof of value, proof of concept, right? Are you going to be able to want to provide support, L1, L2 support for us? And by the way, services are super important to you. So how do we make sure that depending upon what type of partner you are and what type of business model that you care about, how do we make sure that we enable you, right? And so Brenda, if you can do one more build on this, we took our partners and we just mapped them to this. And we said, okay, where are they today? And you can see some of them in the lower left-hand quadrant, some of them are in the top right-hand quadrant, a bunch of them are sort of in between, in the middle. So we're looking at this as we speak, and as we build business plans with each of these partners, we're going to ask them the same question. We think you are in this quadrant. Are you wanting to make this journey to go to this other quadrant, or are you happy with the same quadrant where you are today? Which is fine, by the way, also. So we're not expecting every partner to sort of go to the upper right-hand quadrant, right? Which is important for us also, because that's where partners source business for us, and that's where they provide services and all of that. So it becomes even more what I call a mature partner, right? So this hopefully is helpful to you guys. This is how I'm thinking about the different partner types, the roles that they play, aligning it to, again, the sales cycle and the value that they bring to the customer and for us also, right? Which is very important. And if you go to the next slide, I did the same thing. You know, kept the y-axis and the x-axis. I've added another one to the far right, which says maintain or double down on, because we're trying to figure out which partner should we double down on, right? And then I mapped, again, the quadrants, but this time I said, how do we invest in them? So if the bottom left-hand quadrant is probably a lot of transactions, like a lot of fulfillment, a lot of resale transactions. So there we want to have ICSP enablement. That stands for IGEL certified sales professional. So let's just make sure that they have a sales sort of certification, but let's use our value-added distributors really to help us manage these types of partners more. Let's do spiffs maybe. Let's use MDF with them to drive campaigns, etc. And then if you go on to sort of the middle block of partners that you saw before, I do want to have a channel account manager managing them. Probably fewer transactions than the ones before. We want them to be even more enabled. And here's where probably rebates and MDFs are probably really important for these guys, right? They'll probably care about it more from that standpoint. And if you do one more build, you'll see, you know, sort of the upper right-hand quadrant is where, again, we want to have channel account managers managing these guys, probably the fewest transactions, maybe bigger deals here. We want them to be even more enablement because these guys are providing services to our customers. Customer satisfaction is going to be super important. Are they skilled? Are they enabled to be able to do that? SPIFs, rebates are probably less important for these guys. What's more important to them is how do we bring them into services deals? How do we make sure that we provide shadowing and mentoring to these types of partners, right? And we can probably use MDF also effectively with these partners also. So double down, so to speak, on the partners who are on the upper quadrants, both left and right, and sort of maintain the ones clearly on the bottom quadrants. But we have our investment approach is a little different based upon each. So when I build the partner program for next year, all right, it'll be sort of aligned to this approach, and this is how we'll allocate our budget also. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys in terms of, again, aligning to your sales cycle, the value that expect from partners, and then aligning your enablement plans and your investment plans to that type of partner and where they are within the journey. All right, back to you, Ken.
That's great, Balaji. Thanks very much. Now, I think it's a great approach and resonates with what AJ just said in terms of doubling down on what you have and making the best out of it.